33.
Mr. Chairman, I'll offer a motion to recommend adoption of Article 33.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend adoption of Article 33. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
And the chair will vote aye as well, so it's a 4-1. Okay, Article 34. This article would transfer a parcel of land to be used for building and selling affordable homes. The parcel located at 1057 South Street, map 109, parcel 71, is approximately 2.86 acres and will be sold through a public procurement process.
And this is something the board has talked about in the past about determining if there was any other town land that we could bring forward for a similar project to 110 South Street, which the Habitat for Humanity built an affordable house. This is a little bit different because it's a larger lot. You could probably get more than one unit on here, but that can be determined and decided when we send out an RFP. And it's not a straight bid for the land. It's truly a request for proposals, so the selectmen can review and determine which of the proposals they feel best meets the goals that they have when they set out the RFP.
Any questions or discussion relative to this?
And I'll have a map in the handout for town meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Montori. All right, well, hearing no further discussion, do we have a motion relative to Article 34?
Make a motion to recommend adoption of Article 34.
Okay, we have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend adoption of Article 34. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Article 35. By accepting this deed, the town will receive the title to Livingston Street Recreation Fields.
Yeah, the town never actually had an article to accept the deed, so this is an article to, and if they have, it's probably outdated, so this is just authorizing the Board of Selectmen to actually accept the deed when we finalize this transaction. We still have a little bit of ways to go to meet the requirements from DCAM, but again, this is just anticipating we'll do that and get this done once and for all.
So once presumably the work with DCAM is completed, having passed this warrant article would then allow the transfer to happen?
Yes. We have some information to add to the article that we're going to go through with town council, but yes.
Okay. Any other discussion relative to, no, it's only been, what, 30 years or something, do you really want to go forward with
that,
this?
right?
As one Mr. Chairman who has sat through a number of these meetings with DCAM, the pace at which we hopefully will adopt this particular article will certainly outpace any decisions that are made by DCAM. So I absolutely would encourage residents who attend town meeting to support this placeholder with our fingers and toes crossed that ultimately we get over the finish line.
I'll make a second.
That is a motion to
I would
recommend adoption.
recommend
And then
adoption,
a
yes.
second from Mrs. Strong. All those in favor of the recommendation to adopt Article 35, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I just want to say it's
Chair
too
votes
bad
aye as well.
Mr. Sears has already left the building. I think he'd be giving a standing O.
Yeah.
Okay, so now on to, that concludes all of the annual town meeting warrants. Now look to special town meeting, which would be next Wednesday night to begin at 7 p.m. at the high school. And again, the Finance Committee public hearing relative to both this and the annual town meeting warrant is tomorrow night here in this room at 7 o'clock. Okay, so Article 1. This article is a regular special town meeting article where the town transfers funds from accounts with a projected surplus to accounts with a projected deficit or to accounts to allow for the purchase of needed items or services. There are quite a few items on here. Does anybody have any questions for the town manager relative to this article?
No, I will offer a motion to recommend adoption of the article.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to recommend adoption of Article 1. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Okay, Article 2. This article allows the town to utilize funds to replace the 1986 ladder truck in the fire department. And I'll note that this is money coming from a stabilization fund, and we have the funds to purchase outright a nearly $1 million fire ladder truck as opposed to borrowing for that money. And that, again, goes back to some of the good work that's been done in the previous years and previous boards. So with that, any other further discussion on the fire truck?
Only that, Mr. Chairman, it's a necessary expenditure in consultation with our fire chief and the town manager. It would seem as though it is an appropriate expenditure, and as you just stated, we're very fortunate that we have, as a community, better used the stabilization fund to set aside funds for purposes such as this.
Any other
And
discussion?
I would note as well that this would require a 2/3 vote
Yep.
at town meeting. So that having been said, I don't want to preempt my colleagues, but I'll offer a motion to recommend adoption.
Further discussion before we go for a
I,
second?
I own, a fire truck, they last about 20, 25 years. Is that
This should be about
just-
25 years, yeah.
I just want to make the community,
Yes.
you know, it is a long-term purchase. I know it's a big price tag, but
Ours tend to last a little bit longer, don't they?
This
The
one-
previous one we had is of 1980.
86.
This one apparently was 30 years.
definitely.
I'm not sure if it actually lasted that long. So I have a motion to recommend adoption. Do I hear a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend adoption for Article 2. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Article 3, this article utilizes free cash certified as of July 1st, 2015 to fund Department of Public Works snow and ice due to the amount of snow and ice events during the winter which exceeded the amount budgeted. And that number is $160,000.
The only thing I would like to add is last year, I believe the town manager said that we spent $600,000, so it's kind of nice to see that number drop. Again, as Mr. Chairman just said, a necessary expense, but I'll thank Mother Nature.
Much
for
less
that.
than last year.
And with that, I will make a motion to adopt Article 3, recommendation.
All right, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend adoption of Article 3. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. We got everybody on that one. Article 4, this article utilizes free cash certified as of July 1st, 2015 to fund new vehicles, equipment, and facility improvements for various departments. Any questions related to the items outlined for the total sum of $349,873 from free cash?
I would just like to comment in a conversation with the town manager about this article, that these were items that were identified as priorities for the FY17 budget, but were unable to be funded for next year, and the funds have now been identified because of this, and we're now making those purchases within the FY16 budget. Is that correct, Mr. Manager?
Within FY16, correct. Yes.
So again, I think that this is good, solid fiscal planning.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? We have a motion relative to
I will
Article
make
4.
a motion to adopt Article 4.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion to recommend adoption of Article 4. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Article 5. This article utilizes free cash certified as of July 1st, 2015 to fund a consultant to conduct a townwide visioning session for residents to set goals and priorities for the town's future. We've utilized this opportunity to bring in professional services to help our various committees in the recent past to move us forward, and this is just another step in that direction. I don't know if there's anything you'd like to add relative to this. I know, before I do turn it to you, Mr. Montour, I do know this has been an item that we've considered and talked about as far back as the first few months after which I came on the board, as an opportunity to get more resident input to direct or at least guide our work and the work of the other boards and committees in town. So with that, I'll open up for any discussion or questions. Mrs. Stronach.
So, I will not be voting for this article tonight, and it's not because I am opposed to the idea of this, because I'm very much in favor of the idea of having this type of consultation with our community. However, I do believe that we are currently working on a master plan. Similar article went forward for the town center project, which you've been very involved in, and I think that some of those sessions worked very, very well, and I think that this is an extension of that, but I would really like to see a more concrete proposal, whether that be an RFP, and I talked to the town manager. He did provide more materials regarding this article to all of us. I noticed that one of those projects that were put forward is from 2001. I believe there were 4 communities that you provided us with. I have not had the opportunity to dive through all 4 of them. I have skimmed them, but I believe that we have some opportunities to go back to those communities to ask them what actually worked and what didn't work, and kind of determine what this visioning is actually going to be for the town. So while I support this, I would like to see some more work done on this and potentially be brought back for the October meeting. But at this point, I'm not ready to support this article.
Mr. Schroeder, any other commentary?
Yes, I'll make a motion to recommend adoption of Article 5.
Before I ask for a second, I just would like to comment relative to the process by which we went through with the town center master plan. And part of the reason that I think we need to move forward with this now if we want to be able to do it in the near future, and that's the timeline of going through the process of putting out an RFP for professional services, having a committee formed and review that, choosing that plan, moving forward, the branding and all of that would take, if we were to push this to October, to me, that means we would be pushing the actual process off into the following year because of the time frame. And so that would be the reason that I would hope we'd move forward with this. But so we have a motion.
Can I
Please,
ask
Miss-
you a question
Yes.
to the town manager? Because I did ask the town manager if there was the possibility of us doing some of that legwork prior, would that do the timeline? And I wasn't able to get the answer to that question. So I agree with your concern. So,
I mean, we could do an RFP, we could solicit proposals, we can do all of that work now. And this is just my opinion. My hope was to recommend to the board that a resident committee be formed, and they develop the RFP, they choose the consultant, they determine the scope, and they drive the entire bus on this, because the thinking here, and again, I'm speaking for myself, was to really engage the residents in determining what they want to see for the future, as we all agree to. It's not because they're not now, and they absolutely have been involved, but to really have a broad discussion of the town's future. And my thinking was, instead of, if I can develop the RFP, but then it's my RFP and the board's RFP, and it's choosing the consultant would be, or at least getting down that road would be mine and the board's. It was just my thought that let the committee do that from start to finish. Let them take this and let them go from the beginning right to the end. I'll assist in any way, but in no means do I want to be, for lack of a better term, driving the bus.
So I understand, and I totally get that. But my question again, pushing back on this, is why couldn't we form a committee to do that anyway? Looking at the other plans that you presented, their work was done prior to their master plans being developed. Our master plan is getting ready to be published quite soon,
hopefully.
right?
Mhm.
And so typically, from what I've viewed from the information that you provided to me, and, I could be wrong because I haven't been able to speak to any of those groups or communities or leaders that were involved in that, but though those were that was teed up prior to their master plan. And some of those communities did this without expending funds, and you just put in the other warrant article, some planning personnel that could assist with this as well. So is it in fact that we could form the resident committee similar to what we just did with the cable commission, have them develop the RFP and then come back? I don't know
Yeah, I
if
mean-
that's something that, again, that timeline in terms of this. And I was not a part of these discussions prior to, so,
Yeah, and again, just from the discussions we've had internally, which, because we thought about not seeking the funding until October and starting the process. But again, the thinking was, well, if we have the opportunity to secure the funding now, let's do it now in case the committee needs to have some funding for whatever purposes. It could be nothing, it could be something, but at least the money's in place and they know it's real, and it may energize people to want to be on the committee because they know the funding is in place and it's going to be a real project. Whereas a committee that still has to go to town meeting and may not get those funds, people may say, you know what, I'm not that interested until we know it's going to be a project. This kind of legitimizes it if it's passed. But we had that discussion. And again, because of timeframes and, you know, we have this debate all the time, when is the best time to have these visioning sessions, these hearings, these meetings? And no one yet has picked the right time because the attendance varies. It usually is driven by the issue. But getting the money up front for the committee really says to them, we're serious. And that was all the thinking.
so, again, as somebody who was not as involved as the rest of the board members on this committee, I'm just not comfortable that we're ready for this yet. I do think, I again, want to just be clear, the idea of having a community involved in all this really excites me, and I know that the work that the Town Center Committee has done has been exceptional. So I just want to say, with the master plan just coming out, I just think the timing's off for me personally. I think it's going to pass at this table anyway, so it's kind of a viewpoint.
There's a motion on the table, Mr. Chairman.
So I have a motion to recommend adoption. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend adoption of Article 5. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Opposed.
The chair will vote aye as well. 4 to 1. Okay, Article 6. According to Massachusetts general laws, bills that are late must be approved by town meeting before payment. This article authorizes the charges to be paid, and so we have, it looks like, one bill to Constellation Energy.
Yes, this is just last fiscal year when we switched over from separate billing of Constellation Energy from National Grid and then combined them into one bill. The bills were missed, and in fact, Constellation mailed some of our bills to the town of Air, so they never were paid. So it's a variety of
Air didn't
departments
pay 'em for
involved. Air wouldn't pay them for us, so they were late.
Okay.
Make a motion to recommend adoption, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I have a
I'll second
motion
that.
and a second to recommend adoption of Article 6. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Article 7. At special town meeting in October 2014, funds were approved to fund an Adopt an Island program. The Beautification Committee would like to expand the use of funds for the committee's other programs, projects, and events. And this was a reallocation of $3,702.54 of the remaining balance of the original appropriation of $3,900. So this just gives flexibility to the Beautification Committee to
Do other
use some of
things.
those funds other than the Adopt an Island program.
Make a motion to recommend adoption of Article 7.
Second for discussion. I just want to say that I was at FinCom, and I believe that your finance department has adopted an island.
They are planning to, yes, and
So
Putting
I
the
would like
town
to
hall to
challenge
shame.
this board to also adopt an island at a later time, maybe.
Okay, well, we'll pass that on to the Beautification Committee. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to recommend adoption of Article 7. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the chair votes aye as well. Article 8. This article transfer funds received from an insurance claim to purchase a new police cruiser. A police cruiser was in an accident that rendered the vehicle unsafe to drive. The insurance company paid the town $32,860 for replacement value, but the funds were deposited in the town's insurance recovery account and needs town meeting approval to spend. The Finance Committee approved a transfer from the reserve fund to have the cruiser replaced immediately, and now this article will replace the funds transferred from the reserve fund.
Move to recommend adoption, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to recommend adoption of Article 8. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. It's unanimous. Article 9. This article transfers funds received from an insurance claim for engineering and construction of roof and gutter replacement and repair at the police station. The roof at the police station was damaged during the winter of 2015 from ice and heavy snow. A report by an engineering consultant recommended areas of the roof be repaired and replaced. A claim was filed with the town's insurance carrier, and the town received a check to undertake the work. Town meeting needs to approve spending the funds from the insurance recovery account.
Make a motion to recommend adoption of Article 9.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to recommend adoption of Article 9. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Article 10. Funds are available from a settlement with the Valley Collaborative. The funds were placed into the general fund and must be appropriated into a budget for expenditure. The funds will then be placed into the school department's circuit breaker fund. And this was a total amount of $32,050.76.
Move to recommend adoption, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to recommend adoption of Article 10. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Article 11. The hydrant replacement program funds will replace 25 hydrants in FY17 as part of the ongoing hydrant replacement program. Water main repair and replacement funds will be used to repair and replace a broken water main under and in the vicinity of Strongwater Brook. Any remaining funds will be used at other locations. Water distribution master plan funds will be used to develop a town-wide water distribution master plan to better understand which areas of town need to be prioritized and addressed. A repair vacuum rotor truck, the current 2003 truck needs to be repaired for use by the water and sewer departments. The total transfer is in the sum of $553,000 for those 4 items.
It's from retained earnings.
I'm sorry, it's from retained earnings. Thank you.
Make a motion to recommend adoption of Article 11.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend adoption and a second for Article 11. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Article 12. To see if the town, sewer main repair replacement funds will be used to repair and replace a damaged sewer main under and in the vicinity of Strongwater Brook. Any remaining funds will be used at other locations. Pump station upgrades. This project is for installation of portable generator plug-in outlets at sewer pump stations not currently capable of connecting to a portable generator. Purchase a Mack vacuum rotor truck. Funds will be used to purchase the vacuum rotor truck for the sewer department, and then to repair a vacuum rotor truck. The current 2003 truck needs to be repaired for use by the water and sewer departments. And this is a transfer from the sewer enterprise retained earnings of $628,000.
I'll make the motion to adopt Article 12.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion to, and a second to recommend adoption of Article 12. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Article 13. This article will allow the Water Enterprise Fund to have a stabilization fund to set funds aside for future future use for water enterprise operations, capital improvements, emergencies, and one-time expenditures. Any, Mr. Montori, you want to just take us through with this?
This is something that I was thinking about prior to the budget process starting, and I had mentioned in my presentation on water and sewer rates, we're allowed to have a special stabilization fund, a special purpose stabilization fund under state statute. And I thought by creating one for water, and I'll speak to the sewer one together, water and sewer, it will allow the town to set funds aside whether it's from retained earnings or other revenue, to start planning for long-term projects. And that's what they use for, similar to our general fund stabilization fund. The interest on this fund would stay specifically with the stabilization fund for future projects. And it just allows us to set that money aside specifically for purposes that a stabilization fund is used for, whether it's one-time expenditures, capital projects. We wouldn't transfer all of the retained earnings into the fund. We are capped at 10% of the town's previous year levy for what can go into all of our stabilization funds. I spoke to DOR this week. They recommended keeping some of the retained earnings in place in case you have a low collection or low revenue in 1 year. The retained earnings will help, and then transfer a certain amount into the stabilization funds. So it was just an idea of setting these funds up, segregating the money for this particular purpose. In order to transfer money in, it's a 2/3 vote, and it's a 2/3 vote to take money out, so it does give a little bit more harder requirement to pass through town meeting. Not that things we brought forward in the past, town meetings have been supportive. So it's setting the fund up, it's showing residents that we're planning for future capital. There's no cost to doing this. In fact, there was a question raised today about the interest rate by Ms. Stronach. And the interest rate for our stabilization funds, because they're trust funds, interest rates are low, so these are what they are today. So the trust funds usually get about 1.7%, and our general pooled cash, which what our retained earnings would be in, is about 1.3. So it's a little bit more course of a year, or a couple of years, especially the size of our the amounts that we would put in. It could be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 that stays with that fund.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Anywhere from $10,000, maybe $20,000 a year that would stay specifically with that fund. Without the fund,